Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a look at a really disturbing case, the story of Harmony Montgomery.
Yes, a young girl from New Hampshire whose life ended tragically.
Exactly. And we're mainly drawing on her Wikipedia page for the facts here, trying to piece together the events, the legal side, and, well, what it all means, really.
It's a difficult case, absolutely. But it's important to examine it because it really does shine a light on some very uncomfortable truths about the systems that are supposed to protect children. Raises questions we just can't ignore.
Couldn't agree more. So let's start with Harmony herself. She was born June 7th, 2014. Her parents were Crystal Sorey and Adam Montgomery.
Right. But she didn't stay with them initially. From just 2 months old, she was in foster care with Tim and Michelle Raftery.
And it sounds like that was actually a positive period for her.
It really does. Reports from her foster mother paint a picture of a social, smart little girl, happy, very caring towards her half-brother Jameson, who was born in 2016. But it's also key to note she wasn't without challenges. She was partially blind in her left eye, had some special behavioral needs. So, a vulnerable child from early on.
That context makes what happened in 2018 feel even more critical. Crystal Sorey, her mother, lost custody of both Harmony and Jameson.
Yeah, a huge disruption, a definite turning point. Jameson was later adopted, thankfully, by Blair Miller and Jonathan Bobbitt Miller. And it's just heartbreaking. They later mentioned how distressed Jameson was about his sister being missing. It really speaks to, the bond they must have had.
Then comes 2019, and this is a decision that, looking back, is just staggering. A judge in Massachusetts gives full custody of Harmony to her father, Adam Montgomery.
Who was living in New Hampshire by then, with his wife, Kayla, and their 2 sons.
How does that happen, given everything?
That's the core question, isn't it? I mean, this decision put Harmony directly in the path of danger. And what's really worrying is there were signs, there were warnings even before that.
You mean like Adam's uncle, Kevin Montgomery? He saw Harmony with a black eye.
Exactly. During a visit. And he reported that Adam apparently admitted to it, said he bashed her around. That's a direct quote reported.
And he reported this to Child Protective Agencies.
He did. And this right here is where you see a massive potential failure. A direct report, an admission of abuse from family, and yet seemingly no effective action was taken.
It makes you question the whole process, the thresholds.
Absolutely. What broke down? How was that information assessed or not assessed? It's deeply concerning.
Okay, so after this custody change, after this ignored report, the situation just deteriorated rapidly.
Tragically, yes. The details are grim. Late 2019, the family gets evicted. They end up in a homeless shelter.
More instability.
And during that time, the abuse against Harmony reportedly got worse, often linked horribly to toilet training accidents.
Oh, no.
And then the final unthinkable act. Adam beat her to death.
The details that follow her death, they're almost impossible to fathom.
The information we have suggests he hid her body in a duffel bag.
And for 2 years, her mother, Crystal, had no idea.
None. She started getting really worried in late 2021. Adam was supposed to bring Harmony for Thanksgiving, didn't show. Then he blocked Crystal on Facebook.
That must have been terrifying. That's when she filed the missing person report.
Yes. And Adam's first move, lies. He told investigators Harmony was with her mother, Crystal.
Buying time, obscuring the truth.
Exactly. But the official police investigation kicked off in December 2021. Manchester police held a press conference.
And other family members started coming forward then.
They did. Adam's own brother, Michael Montgomery, was significant. He reported seeing Adam abuse Harmony.
So, corroboration, backing up the concerns.
Yes, it helped investigators build their case, strengthening the suspicions.
And it didn't take long then for this to shift from a missing persons case
to a murder investigation.
Yeah.
By January 22nd, 2022, even without having found Harmony's body, the police determined she'd been murdered.
That's a huge step without the body.
It is. And then in August 2022, the authorities went public, stating they believed Harmony was dead and her father had killed her.
Which brings us to the charges against Adam and, initially, his wife Kayla.
Adam was charged with second-degree murder. Kayla Montgomery also faced charges at first, but her situation changed.
How so?
She became a witness for the state, agreed to testify against Adam. Often, that involves a deal for lesser charges or potential leniency.
Then her testimony must have been powerful.
Absolutely crucial. She gave this really harrowing account, described abuse within her own marriage to Adam, and crucially gave details about what happened after Harmony died, the hiding of the body.
This is horrific.
The trial also heard from other family, Crystal's old co-workers, building this whole tragic picture. And there's physical evidence mentioned too, like blood stains found on ceiling drywall, believed to be where her remains were hidden for a time.
Unbelievable. What was Adam's defense strategy? Did he say anything?
Well, the sources say he did admit guilt on 2 counts, though they weren't specified exactly what. But there was also this moment the prosecutor highlighted, using Adam's own words against him. Apparently he said, "I fed up."
Acknowledging it.
It seemed like it. Underscoring his own awareness of wrongdoing.
And the jury
Found him guilty. February 22nd, 2024. Guilty of second-degree murder. Guilty of falsifying physical evidence.
and the sentence.
May 9th, 2024. He got 45 years to life, and that's on top of to be served after another sentence he already had for some unrelated weapons charges.
So, a very long time. There was also a legal declaration about her death, separate from the trial.
Yes, just shortly after the verdict, March 12th, 2024. A New Hampshire judge officially, legally declared Harmony Montgomery dead. And that decision was based partly on Adam's own admission to abusing her corpse.
Oh, God. It's no wonder this whole thing has sparked such outrage. Calls for change.
Absolutely. There was a piece in the Boston Herald, April 2023, highlighting it. Huge public outcry, demands for real reform in child protective services.
The warnings were there.
They were. Multiple reports, red flags, and the system didn't prevent the tragedy. So people are rightly asking hard questions about how these agencies work, about accountability. How do we stop this from happening again?
It's just such a devastating path. From foster care, where she seemed okay, even happy,
Thriving by some account.
to the move, the abuse escalating, and ultimately murder by her father. It forces you to look at those systemic issues.
It really does. Why didn't those reports trigger a stronger intervention? And that custody decision, I mean, what factors were weighed? Was all the information even available or considered properly? It's deeply troubling.
And the ripple effects. You think about her mother, Crystal, her half-brother, Jameson, the Rafteries, her foster family. The emotional devastation is immense.
Immense. You mentioned Jameson's adoptive parents, the Millers. They've talked about wanting to create a memorial for Harmony, a place to remember her.
Acknowledging her life.
Yeah. And Crystal Sorey, Harmony's mother, is reportedly planning a wrongful death lawsuit, seeking some kind of accountability for the failures.
So as we wrap up this look at Harmony Montgomery's story, it leaves us, and you, the listener, with some really tough things to think about.
Definitely. What does this case really show us about the challenges, the weaknesses maybe, in our child welfare systems? How hard is it really to spot and stop abuse effectively?
And what's our role in all this? Our collective responsibility as a society to protect vulnerable kids.
This case demands more than just sadness. It demands reflection. And maybe, hopefully, a commitment to learn from this awful loss and do better.